What is happening, ladies and gents? What is going on? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin, coming to you on this amazing Wednesday. You're probably saying, why is it amazing? Because hey, you woke up, you got to live another day, you're breathing, got a roof over your head. It's always an amazing day when you wake up the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. So again, that's why I consider it an amazing day. But it's also amazing because guess what, guys? I get to tune in and have a conversation with you, the listener, the viewers, who I love and adore and appreciate. You continue to support and subscribe to this podcast, and the supporters that supported my businesses as well, and just everything, man. I just truly thank you, and I always gotta thank you every episode before we start. Let's see what we have going on. Yes, I'm coming to you always dropping new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, as well as tune in to my weekly radio show on WNSB Hot 91.1 FM, The Soul of VA. It's called In Your Cities, hosted by myself and my good friend and brother, comedian Ciroc Fox, as we just talk about a little bit of everything, all the current issues going on and trending stories. We add a little humor to it, but we also want to inform you as well. Again, that's every Sundays at 12 p.m. on WNSB 91.1. If you are not in the Hampton Roads area and you can't get access to it on your radio dial, no worries. You can tune in. There's two other ways. Another way is you can listen live on their app, their free app, WNSB. And like I said, it's free, whether if you have an Android or iPhone. Also online at WNSB.org. So multiple ways you can tune in. And then also you can tune in to past episodes of our radio show on wherever you get your podcasts. All you have to do is just type in R Smooth Club and you will see all of our content shows. Of course, you will catch my podcast as well. So so much great stuff we have going on. So much stuff to talk about on this Wednesday, man. What a weekend. I hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend. And so much stuff had happened on the college sports, man. Everybody was watching the Deion Sanders, prime time. He had his debut game as the head coach for Colorado, University of Colorado, and they did awesome. First of all, they scored 45 points. First game of the season, they scored 45 points against TCU, who was a ranked team, I think 17 ranked squad, and his son went off. He had, I think, school records, passed over 500 yards. Again, they end up winning that game 45-42. So congrats to Deion Sanders and the University of Colorado football squad. They've worked very hard. I know they had to overcome a lot of all the critics, especially Deion Sanders, because at the time he was coaching in HBCU, which everybody was excited because it was such a huge name recognition that was in charge of the football program there. And he brought in so many stars, so much money just to Mississippi alone. And, Deion got a lot of heat because after two successful seasons, back-to-back winning seasons, and countless, high recruits coming to that program, he ended up leaving and accepting a job at the University of Colorado, somewhat of a big-time sports school, more advanced, people can say. But here's the main focus, or the main thing people had to understand. Deion, as a coach, he wants to continue to coach on the highest level. Now, there's always a debate on playing at an HBCU compared to a PWI sports school. A big, whether if it's SEC, ACC, Big Ten, there's so many, I can't really remember all of them. But this school was a little more, equipped financially, because let's be real, Deion Sanders has always been known for the man that's going to go where the money's at, right? Did he not do what he said he was going to do at Jackson State? He absolutely did. Not only did he did he bring a losing program to winning and to back-to-back titles, the man also brought in a lot of money. Some of it was his own money to the program, to the school, and he generated so much, really, just to the city alone, Jackson, Mississippi, so much revenue. I mean, a new stadium, and it was so much stuff that he brought in. And honestly, for how much he's worth, he definitely went there and took a huge pay cut, right? But Colorado, they gave him that number that he could not refuse, and so he ended up taking that job. So I'm not gonna kind of stress the show out talking about Dion, but again, congrats to him. A lot of people thought he was gonna be getting, it's just the first game, but he really pushed out with a huge. He made a statement. He made a statement. It was a hell of a debut, and again, 45-42 against TCU, Texas Christian University, a ranked school. So again, congrats to them. Also, what else happened? Besides the sports. Oh, this past Monday, which here on the show we're gonna really talk about. I want to talk about HBCUs and PWI universities. Because an incident occurred at a local known university here in my hometown, and so I want to kind of bring in the conversation about that. Also, I want to talk about Shannon Sharp's official debut on First Take was this past Monday on Labor Day. And I also want to talk about term limits when it comes to politicians, because a known politician had a second health scare episode that occurred that was publicly and that was televised. So I'm going to talk about that too. So first and foremost, I want to bring up this past weekend was a lot of college football games that was happening. Excuse me. I had to clear my throat. So I live in the state of Virginia, Hampton Roads area, and in the state of Virginia, we have, I believe, like 5 HBCUs, historical Black colleges and universities, and those 5 are Hampton University, Norfolk State University, Virginia State University, Virginia Union University, and then Virginia University of Lynchburg. And I believe we also had St. Paul's College, which had closed in 2013. My wife and I attended a Norfolk State game. They played against Virginia State University, and it was, a rivalry game, packed house, man. You had marching bands on both sides going ham, the cheer squads. It was just I've never attended an HBCU. I did for one summer class at NSU, and really my university was a private institution, but it was predominantly Black, so it could have passed on for HBCU. But and we played against so many other HBCUs, but we were not considered an HBCU. But Norfolk State has so much history and ties with my family because all my family graduates of Norfolk State. My mother, my father, my stepfather, my stepmother, my half siblings, graduates at NSU. My radio show happens to be at the radio station that is owned and operated by Norfolk State University. So a lot of great ties with Norfolk State. Norfolk State is a staple in the city of Norfolk, right? So we have like, I think like 7. We might have like 7 universities in the state of Virginia, but like I said, 5 of them are HBCUs. Norfolk State, behold the green and gold. It's a historic school, and will forever be a historic school. It's always, getting so much loyalty from their community and all that great stuff. But a very, very sad incident occurred this past weekend, and let me just pull it up on my iPad right here, and just there we go. So a sophomore of Norfolk State University was killed off campus near NSU. Now, just to give a little bit, this is given by WTKR, which is a CBS affiliate station here in the area. It says here, let's see, the 20-year-old, his name was Jahari George from Maryland, was shot shortly after 11 p.m. in the 2700 block of Gatehouse Road. Now, Gatehouse Road is literally a part of Norfolk State University. Now, Norfolk State University, there's so much, outside living and stuff that is kind of attached, but it's not a part of, so they consider it off campus stuff, but it really is on campus. I mean, you can walk to that. And the sad thing is because school just started, guys, and especially for a student that is not from the area, it's sad for that family and that parent to get that phone call like, "Hey, look, I got some news for you." And after they had post the Norfolk State social media, they had said, "Hey, the Spartan family took a sudden loss, and thoughts and prayers to the family. We counseling, the whole 9 yards." And if I can just give me 1 second so I can find the and it was so disheartening because once again, you want to you know leave it on a not leave it on a positive note, but once they made that post, they made that post to acknowledge and to for the family to to see, for all of the community to see, as well as the student base, just hey, look, please be careful. And this was a statement that was uh put out on their social media, and it says that, okay, the incident occurred. Police have apprehended a person of interest, and they are currently in police custody. Now, effective immediately, access to campus will be limited, and it explains which gates, which is a part of their entrances to the university, will be limited, the whole 9 yards. And now, after reading that, you always want to read the comments and see, okay, if anybody had knew him, or if there's any kind words that will be said in the comments. But the words started to get to a conflict about the cops of Norfolk State University. One person had said that, hey, NSU cops more obsessed with giving parking tickets than dealing with people actually being in danger. Another one had said that the gates are limited, but anybody can walk on the campus. Okay. Then another one. Let me see. Mm, let's see. NSU, please get down on security, as well as letting these students know what is really happening off campus, and so on and so on. And of course, somebody said, hey, look, please, let's not make this about the university. This person lost their life, and so on and so on. But they have some points, in my opinion. Now, it's a bad timing to start adding your frustration, because nothing should really be said on social media, but especially if there's people that are mourning. Keep those comments to yourself, and until the time is right. But I will say that Norfolk State, and really, it's almost like a conversation about a good portion of or a good number of HBCUs, about the areas they're located in, because I know I can speak for Howard University. My niece attends there, and Howard recently had an incident where I believe like 6 students were attacked on campus. Um, it's in a rougher area of Washington D.C., because everybody's like, hey, it's in the heart of D.C. Yeah, it's in a rough part of D.C. And people that have been to Howard can agree with me on this one, that it is not in a great area of D.C. It also has a homeless rate, where homeless people hang around campus, where students can be walking right by groups of homeless people, not just one or two, but groups of homeless people, which again is not safe. Norfolk State University is in an area in Norfolk that is, let's just say, it's a little rough around the edges. Now, I do believe that the students need to know what their surroundings are. They should always go in a team of 2 to 3 to 4. I recommend nobody walking by themselves. Okay. Um Virginia Union, not so nice area, if I might say. Um, what are some other HBCUs? I'm gonna trying to see if I can. Elizabeth City State, not the best. The crime is very high. So my thing is, we want to continue to see our HBCUs grow, But first things first, parents are going to want to know about the safety because they're sending their kids out, whether they are in state or out of state. They're by themselves there. They're their own person, and they want to talk about their safety. Uh, Shots were being, taken as far as what, and well, not shots, but comments was taken towards NSU about, hey, look, NSU, almost every year you're having renovation on a new building and all this money that's getting donated to the university and these new programs, but yet you struggle with housing living. The buildings are very old. Sometimes the food is not the best. And I've actually spoken with students, current students, and graduates of NSU that have said, no, the living is very rough. I mean, our air filters haven't been changed, and this and the other. Howard had a long protest about the living situation. I know Hampton University, which is a private institution, but Hampton is damn near like 45 or 42,000 a year. I could be wrong, could be higher than that. And the living conditions are poorly. Now they might have certain nice rooms and stuff for higher honor students, but all kids should have great living conditions. Okay, for the amount of money that they put into universities, they need to do better. Now I know, I believe it was St. Aug where at the time, oh man, was it? No, I'm losing my Bethune-Cookman out of Florida. Ed Reed, NFL Hall of Famer, was getting ready to start his tenure as a football coach, their head football coach, and he ended up not taking it, but he had said like the conditions there were trash, like the atmosphere was bad, like, and that's what kills me is that our historical Black schools have so much great history, and they don't receive so much money compared to other PWI schools, but look at the conditions, y'all. Look, how do we continue to grow our Black institutions if stuff like, shootings always occur, students complaining about the living conditions and so on, protests, this and that? Like, it's sad because it's always something sketchy going on when it comes to, hey, you received a huge money. I remember when Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, she donated, I believe, $100 million, and it spread out to all HBCUs. So I believe NSU might have received at least $5 million, maybe $5 million. And I don't know what that was going towards, and I do understand when it comes to certain donations, like, people make those donations out and say, hey, look, this specifically I want this to go to here. And the university can't do anything about that. If the donor wants to donate to the science building, Norfolk State cannot reject that and say, nah, we're actually going to switch and put it to here because they can't. So in Norfolk State's defense, people can't complain and say like, well, you guys are receiving all this money and not doing anything about the security and this and that. First of all, NSU has always been tight, and they have a police station on campus. Okay. Now, they can't help with if their jurisdiction stops right there, they can't go outside of campus. Now, I was a college student. There were so many off-campus parties that were nowhere near towards the university that I attended. So whatever occurred at that party, hey, people can't be mad at the university. That was my choice, going far away from campus at a party that was off campus. So that's up to the local city's crime. Okay, that has nothing to do with the university. Now, for how close this shooting had occurred, it would have been nice if that maybe they might need to double up in police and security around that campus because they are in a rough area. I understand people saying, hey, look, stop giving out the driving or parking tickets and this and that and worry about actual real safety that happens. I totally agree with that because I was at a university where, hey, we had it was a small town, so we had really like, a small group of police officers and security guards, but they were making sure they would come in and get you them tickets, and they will fuss you out if you went past this and this and that and the other. So look, I remember one time, now mine, there's a little area in our school at Toronto University they call Squirrel Park. There's just a little, it's just a little loop. It's just a little loop. And I might have came from a different direction, and I, instead of really stopping at the stop sign, I literally like just I honestly I think I thought I stopped, but the cop said I didn't, and I just went by and turned, and it was like 15-mile like loop. I'm like, let me just park right here, get right here to lunch. I got pulled over. Hey, but I was guilty. If he said I had did not stop at that stop sign, okay. But was I a threat to the university by doing that? No. And I think that's what people's issue are. They're like saying, hey, look, people are getting crazier and crazier out here, and you have got to do more than just giving out tickets. Matter of fact, let the ticket slide because it isn't hurting anybody. Sometimes the parking tickets is like, okay, look, this is for faculty parking only. Then you got handicap parking. Then you got this parking there. Look, they make it so hard for students to even park on campus nowadays. Everything is like reserved for this, reserved for that, reserved for this, reserved. I was like, Jesus, like you have like 15 reserved parking as well as another 15 maybe for for handicap parking, right? Which I'm not having an issue with the handicap parking. That's needed, but there's so many reserves for other people with higher up positions, and it's like you're forcing kids to walk from across campus, which hey is a part of campus life, but I think it's a part of campus life, especially if you're in a nicer area, okay, or the school is like separate from the community. But it's scary, man. And again, when it comes to crime compared to in HBCUs compared to PWIs, I want to see if there is a certain statistic that will acknowledge that. Like I'm reading up on this. This is from regalmag.com. First time checking out this platform. Okay. And the question is college crime more prevalent at HBCUs versus mainstream schools? So let's see here. And they acknowledge that, okay, lockdowns on college campuses are becoming more unfortunate of the norm to light of the mass of shootings. Like, for example, Virginia Tech was a huge, woke up a lot of people. I think I was like in middle school or high school when that shooting occurred. But here's from the U.S. Department of Education reported that there were 95 murders on college campuses in the 6 years from 1999 to 2004, with approximately 4,200 colleges in the United States. This would mean that the average, I would say, college can expect the experience of a murder on campuses about once every 265 years. Let me tell you something. There was a time, I think sometime last year in 2023, where, I mean, not 2023, 2022, where HBCUs was receiving a lot of bomb threats. Okay. They were every HBCU. And it was, I think they end up tying into like one minor who I believe was arrested for it and stuff like that. But schools in general are having more and more casualties occur. And it's extremely sad and it's extremely scary because, like I said, I have nieces and nephews. Two of them are in college now. And I know that, you and, my siblings, their parents, they can't be there at all times. So we always pour into them to say, hey, look, please hang out with the right crowd, the right group of people. Do not walk out by yourself. Okay. Especially, females, please do not walk out by yourself at night. No, please no. But I do believe that not just HBCUs, but all universities, they need to do better when it comes to security on campuses, because you do have countless of students that wander around campus, by themselves, whether if it's like, hey, they're leaving the gym, they're going on a run. They need to be like top security of the world. I'm like higher than the White House security, okay? Because they got security everywhere, but they have got to do better. You have got to do better. As for preventing students from attending off-campus activities, that's life. There, it's a lesson learned, and it sucks to say it like that, but you can't stop an individual from doing something off campus. Like you can't shelter them. You can't stop them from, hey, you can't go here. You can stay right here, but you can't go out here. You just can't. You just can't. I know for sure that, this individual's parents raised him right. And again, wrong place at wrong time. They haven't really talked about any more details about this. But, again, my heart and prayers go out to the family of this gentleman that lost his life over at Norfolk State University. I hope to God that nothing like that ever happens, ever, for any student in a university. And it's just, again, it's just, that's all I can say is it's just sad. It's extremely sad. And more of a conversation needs to happen. And I'll contact some friends that work in local universities, and even work when it comes to, like, even like law enforcement on college campuses. I would love to have a conversation here on my radio show and here on this podcast, because one thing I want to always let the viewers and the listeners know that, hey, look, I love to have conversation with you about what's going on in our society today. And we want to have fun, but we also want to inform each other as well. So I feel like, talking about security in different universities, but especially in our HBCUs, is very important because, again, HBCUs, a number of them are in, rougher areas of their cities. And it makes them more of a target for people. Because, look, trust and believe, criminals know when they can point out a young, naive, student that's, by themselves, or like, oh, look, I know exactly what they do. I know the routine. Trust and believe, they know that. But especially, for state funded schools and stuff, it's, they can maximize their security, whatever in their budget. And so we will see, from time to come. And again, we will see if there will be any adjustments with that. But until then, I'm gonna be moving on to another conversation, and that will be about term limits. Term limits when it comes to our state and local and federal, our politicians, higher up positions, and when is the right time for them to sit down. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go to a quick commercial break, take a breather. We'll be back with more of the Arrington Gavin podcast.
Order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin podcast. Look, I want to talk about term limits because recently, Senator Mitch McConnell out of Kentucky, who was actually the majority leader of the GOP, he had a second episode of, he all of a sudden he will freeze and he'll be like not responding for a long period of time, and he'll just like, and the first time it happened, of course, the memes came out and they're like, oh, what do they say? Glitch McConnell and all this. Y'all, look, as clever, and hopefully, he'll catch it as a, humor as well. But we don't, as of right now, we're joking about this man's health. We don't know what's happening, and we need to, you need to grow up. Mitch McConnell is 80 years old. The first time he was speaking in front of press and he had paused, and it was very scary because he just paused and he wasn't saying a word. His eyes looked, kind of started to get a little teary or bloodshot, and then it was very scary. And then they had to, remove him quickly. The second time this happened again, and he paused and he wasn't responsive. my thing is, who the hell is this doctor that cleared this man to say, okay, now he's good to go. He's good. He can go back. No, no. Like, let's talk about term limits, y'all. So I have a list right here of people in the Senate. Okay, this is people in the Senate. We got in Iowa, Charles E. Grassley. He's 89 years old. A Republican senator. You have Dianne Feinstein, 89 years old as well, out of California, Democrat. You have Mitch McConnell, who's 80. Bernie Sanders is 81. There's at least I'm looking. I mean, there's over 10 people, well over 10 people that is over 75, over 75 years old. And what kills me is when you're on Congress and U.S. Senate, okay, how can I put this? Their term limits are unlimited in a sense. Like if they want to run for re-election, they can. If they win, they can stay in their position another 6 years, I believe, or another 4. I forgot how the order. I know the president is 4. The 4 years, I believe one of them is like 6 years. Maybe Congress might be 6 years, or senators are 6 years. I gotta look back on my history. History wasn't my subject, y'all. Don't judge. But there's so many people that is to the age where health is starting to affect their minds, getting a little messed up. I mean, to the point they can't function by themselves. Okay. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who served on the Supreme Court, she died while still serving on the Supreme Court. I believe she was in her 80s or maybe at 90. I mean, it's just, you're talking to people that are getting close to 90 years old serving office. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be ageist here, but I do think that term limits should be needed. If there's two terms for the presidency, there should be 2 terms for every position in office. If they win another one, then boom, give them another 4 years. It's time to go. But this whole thing where they stay forever and ever and ever, if they keep on winning, is ridiculous to me. I mean, you have people that do, eventually retire, but this whole I'm gonna stay until the job is done is effed up. Okay. Because let's be real, you have politicians that love the power. They love that position to say, hey, look, I don't want to leave this. I want to continue to, I love this attention. I love this. I love all the access that I have, right? You do. You have your corrupt politicians, then you have the ones that, hey, look, I want to do this job and there's more work to be done. Then you have the ones that want to kind of play that mentoring role for the past or the next upcoming politicians, and they probably want to stay there a little longer, work their way up, and then be on their way. But I do think, y'all, that it needs to be term limits for all positions. Seeing officials stumbling, like our president Joe Biden, who has stumbled multiple times. Politicians like Mitch McConnell also having his health issues. Dianne Feinstein not knowing what people are talking about. I mean, it's just, these people are in control of our lives as a U.S. citizen, and laws and legislations and all that other stuff. Like, they're in charge of that. So again, and I think about this for any position, whether if you were a manager somewhere, I would not want to have a hard position when I'm working extremely hard when I'm when I'm in my 80s or when I'm in, high up in my 70s. I want to be active and be fully in control of my schedules and always know, hey, look, if I have to go to a meeting, if I have to go, okay, I'll do so, but do not cause me to do vigorous, especially, that's taking a lot of my time, where it's like I don't get enough sleep or I'm always in countless of meetings. It's a lot. It is a lot. And I'll be honest, y'all, a lot of y'all old people, y'all need to retire. Y'all need to retire because you're making it hard for younger people that are looking for freaking jobs. And it's very difficult. Now, I understand if your retirement or hasn't really budged in, or I know cost of living is very expensive, so people can't just live and not do anything. I understand that, but I do think that there's a lot of people that damn well know they have plenty of money in the bank, and they have a retirement check, they have this check, they have that check, and they still want to work, and they still want to keep it moving. Please, 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 please. This is my 2 cents with older senior citizens. Please do not think that don't be intimidated to actually have so much time on your hands where you don't know what to do. Don't be scared, because I think too there's a stigma of where if an old person retires and be still, then they don't know if they're gonna wake up the next morning. That I've heard that from other people as well, other older people. They're like, I just don't want to like pause. I want to keep it moving. I want to keep it moving. I gotta keep moving. Hey, have a regimen where you do stay active, where you go to the gym, exercise, or go to a book club, or join certain groups that keeps you busy, whether if it's volunteer hours, isn't that? But when you continue to like work, 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 work until you're almost like losing your mind, like that's dangerous. That can be dangerous, and it's dangerous for these individuals right here. Like I mentioned, Mitch McConnell. Mitch paused, and it is scary because again, this man, people will still vote. We're still voting for him. Now I don't know if they're going to vote for him after this, and that's what makes it difficult with this upcoming presidential election too, is because on the Democratic side, they screwed. Okay, on the Republican side, they screwed. Now they have a lot of options, but their leading candidate right now got a bunch of charges, liable to go to jail. That's a lot. That is a lot. In the middle, you got Dr. Cornel West. Now, Dr. Cornel West is no young buck, but he has a lot of energy. And let's be real, the presidents don't run the country. Okay, you have Congress and you have Senate. Now, that's why I want to focus more on the Congress and Senate, because there's so many individuals. I'm trying to see who is the youngest person. Is there anybody young in Congress? Okay, I see John Ossoff out of Georgia. He's 35 years old. Okay, how old is? Okay, now these are all senators. Okay, senators, not congressmen, but these are senators. So he's the youngest senator right now, John Ossoff. JD Vance is 38 years old. See, these are some good, comfortable ages right here. I mean, if you get in your late 60s, nah. But I mean, when you get to like them upper 70s, 80s, 90s, please sit it on down, people. Please sit your ass down somewhere. See, I'm branding off now because I get frustrated when I see all these people in here. Okay, it says the average age in Senate is 64 years. Now the average age for House Representative is 57 years. Let's see, is this okay? The House of Representative, I think the oldest person is, I can't pronounce that name, Napolitano. He's 86 years old. Then you have it's just these ages, man. And what's the youngest? Wow, the youngest is 25 years old. Represents the House. Maxwell Alejandro Frost. He's 25 years old. Go ahead, boy. Good gracious, youngest guy up there. Which I recommend. People need to have more faith in young people because they think that we don't know much and all that other crap. And I know they have I think to run for president, you have to be at least 35 to the youngest. Let me tell you something. Young people has all the answers. For one, we live in a tech savvy world. They're extremely smart. They have great ideas. They need to start considering older, Lord have mercy, younger individuals for those positions. Because look, majority of campaigns, they have young people working their campaigns. Okay, on their cabinets, they have young people work for them. Young people are the ones the behind the scenes helping them out with certain legislatures and laws and things like that. So they need to consider that. Okay, I'm getting close to closing this out, y'all. Last, I want to talk about Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp this past Monday had debuted on First Take. It was his debut after hosting for 7 years. Undisputed was Skip Bayless on FS1, and in his debut, it was a known one. It was a known debut. Now, I was excited to tune into this because I had tuned into his podcast Club Shay Shay, which is now on Volume, which is owned by Colin Cowherd, one of his old colleagues at FS1, host of The Herd, one of my favorite sports shows. And Shannon had Stephen A. Smith on there. Great conversation, great debates. It was awesome. They kind of gave you a little glimpse of what to expect with First Take. Now, Shannon Sharp is not a full-time First Take host, but he's going to be up there Monday and Wednesdays. Shannon Sharp multiple times had said skip, skip, skip. And it didn't offend Shannon at all. But Shannon was like, oh man, I'm sorry. Just 7 years, man. 7 years, my bad. So it's gonna be an adjustment, right? It's gonna be an adjustment. And on top of that, too, it's like both gentlemen, their names start with an S. Stephen A. Skip. Maybe it's because he got lisp too. But maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the lisp. But it was it was memorable. It was memorable. But overall, did a great job on the show. Great debut. Of course, social media goes off with he said accidentally called Stephen A. Skip. How long is this gonna last? But you know what? Stephen A. is the executive producer of that show. Stephen A. is also the star of First Take. Trust and believe he said on his own podcast, Stephen A. Smith show, he wanted Shannon Sharp, 3-time Super Bowl champion, NFL Hall of Famer. He wanted him. He wanted a great co-host that he knows will continue to build him up. Because here's the thing, Stephen A. is not a selfish man. I'm a huge fan of Stephen A. Stephen A. is not a selfish man. He knows his job is to bring their success above and beyond. He's like, I know I'm always gonna be successful, but this is a team. We are gonna still stay number one, and your success is my success. My success is your success. That's how we gotta work, and that's how everything should be, y'all. It shouldn't have to be competition. Or look, I'm about to show his I'm about to expose him, or I'm about to win in this debate. No, they do that. What they do is they want to continue to build each other up. And so we will see. I can say for both shows, because now my wife, she watches First Take. I watch Undisputed. I'm a Shannon Sharp fan, so it's gonna be hard to not really watch him on Undisputed. So I'm gonna watch a little more First Take, maybe a little less Undisputed. But I like Undisputed. The way that they're going with it, I hope it continues to build. I mean, it's Skip's show. They're not gonna cancel the show. I mean, Skip is a huge personality for FS1. If they do anything to screw Skip or he leaves that network, it's a done deal for FS1, because they can't. Now, Colin Cowherd is the man. I love his show. I believe it's probably one of the number one, or maybe number one or two, whatever. But his show is very popular. He has a huge fan base. He is doing some great stuff. But Skip is, he's been in the game for a long time, and both of these cats are, former ESPN people. So, we will see. We will see in the next, I'll say week or two. I'll talk about it probably more in the next few episodes into the pod about, hey, comparing the two and who's winning right down the ratings and things like that. I know recently Stephen A had posted I want to say a rating sheet. Let me see if I can find it real quick before I close the show. Okay, Skip Bayless revamp is titled from Front Office Sports. Skip Bayless revamped show falls short of First Take in the ratings. Now, Undisputed Live debut draws 131,000 viewers to 448,000 viewers to First Take. Now, that was before Shannon had debuted on the show. So now, just again, That was before Shannon had debuted on the show. Now let's see how they start looking after post Shannon Sharp era. So we will see, y'all. We will see. Once again, I hope you all enjoyed the conversation with your boy, your homie, your bro. I am Arrington Gavin. You have just tuned into another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. Again, tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays to the Arrington Gavin podcast, available on all podcast platforms. So wherever you get your podcast platforms at, hey, look, I'm there. Okay, I'm there. Also, tune into my weekly radio show every Sundays at 12 p.m. live on WNSB Hot 91.1 FM, the soul of VA. That's right, WNSB. We are the soul of VA. To my show In Your City, hosted by myself and my good brother, comedian Ciroc Fox. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Our Smooth Club Media. We got some great content going on up there, some great shows. Also, for all you beard connoisseurs and beard sporters right there, be sure to check out ruggedevo.com. Rugged Evolution Beard Care is the name of the my men's grooming line. But for more information, if you want to check it out online, go to our website, ruggedevo.com. Also, you can download our free app, available on Android or iPhone as well. All of our socials, Rugged Evo, everything. Follow me on Instagram at Arrington Gavin and LinkedIn, all that great stuff, y'all. I truly appreciate it. I'll be back with you all Friday for another great edition of the Arrington Gavin podcast. Peace.